Alright, so I felt like the patch last time, the main thing was that there were moves that people weren't using, so they were like, let's buff those, and they mentioned it again, right? So that seemed to be like their first like general thing. So they buffed fast roaming cancel here. So they said canceling the normals or special moves from roaming cancel now triggers a slowdown effect and limits attention gauge cost. So here they're talking about fast roaming cancel. We call it fast roaming cancel. They don't. They call it like a Roman cancel or some nonsense. So really looking forward to what this does. I believe this is probably because some characters don't use fast RC stuff that much, even though there are advantages to doing so. And fast RC usually has the best beater penalty to my knowledge. So this change right here is probably just encouraging people to use it more and see what more stuff they can do. That is an interesting change. I don't know what it's going to do. Just interesting change. It should be good for the people who want to come up with more stuff. The counter hit. So moves such as they went all the way. So remember, I was able to make a whole video out of that one clip, right? So they went all the way basically. So it attack level 1 normals now have their own slowdown. So they didn't say that stuff like like S-Disc and stuff have counter hit, but like attack level 1 stuff does. So this is going to tie with another change that I'm going to be mentioning that they gave to some characters a lot. I think this is a really, really big deal, both on offense and defense. And we're going to circle back on this one later. FD. So a lot of people are happy about this one. So this was the bug that pisses everybody off, where you FD, but you don't press the button on the same frame, and then you Kara into FD. So you might get hit on one frame. I hope it didn't take away like the car FD, FDC stuff, but they added a faultless defense button. So we need to see whether that button is just 2 buttons or is a faultless defense button. And if it's a faultless defense button, then there might be some defensive shenanigans, but we don't know. Then they revised inputs here, so they put a note about it over here. Oh wait, no, this is different actually. This is different. I don't really know what they mean by this. So they talk about like TKing aerial, TKing the move and stuff. But they said they made some moves. If you tap up, then the ground normal comes out anyway, which I think is very weird. So they already made TKs easier. I really want to see how that feels. It definitely affects like Baiken players, Axel players, Millia players, of course. There's multiple ways of doing Tigrany. I don't know. I don't like the way this reads. So, but this I just have to try, right? A little note about input priority too. Where 236 and 623 is just talk about input priority stuff. This is kind of nerd shit. I'm not gonna lie. I like learning about stuff like this. Usually when new games come out, we always experiment with the input priority, like in what order does the game accept inputs and stuff. So in this case, when an input has 236 and 63 is prioritized, but when half circle is input, 236 is prioritized, right? So this can affect a few things. So one, the really nice thing about the first one is that I actually usually recommend people, when they can't do DPs, to do forward and a quarter circle. In older games, you might get away with this sometimes, but now it looks like they're just gonna give it to you. For the half circle one, I'm actually not sure. That one sounds like it's to help Baiken players, to be honest, right? Now, we have this special moves canceling into overdrives before coming out. This is about Kara. It's intended to make it easier to perform overdrives where part of the input is the same as a special move. This one makes sense. Maybe we'll see some trickiness with this, but maybe it'll make sense. Whatever. Input priority for normal moves. Okay. Under certain conditions, inputs for crouching normals and command normals will now be prioritized over standing normals. So for example, previously when inputting 2S during the hit stop of close standing S, if you quickly release down, / would come out. However, with this change, crouching S would come out. So this has happened to me. I've gotten hoed by this a couple of times, so it's good to hear, but I didn't understand why. But it seemed to be an input priority thing. So this is a change that I liked. I had to think about this one a little bit. Many characters got changes on jump normals. Of course, we're going to mention that a lot. Many characters, basically all characters except for Nago and Potemkin, have 2 dash cancels now. So it's like a universal thing. If you play Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, you're pretty familiar with this because basically every character in Ultimax has at least 1 dash cancel. So dash cancels tend to be disadvantaged, but the total duration is like instant speed, so you kind of have to mash. Instant to my memory, I'm actually not sure, but it's fast. But usually disadvantage, right? There's something to keep in mind. Could be used for combos, pressure, combined with BRC. It's all those things combined, right? And then probably the best news for everybody is the damage is overall lower in the game. We're gonna see a lot of like damage reduce, damage reduce, damage reduce. And then both, they say overdrives, but reversals in general have been slowed down and become more disadvantaged. Yo, Young Izzy with the 500 bits. Thank you so much, man. So these are like general system things that we can pay attention to. A couple of these things I'm gonna come back to while we're talking about the characters. So as far as specific changes, right? As far as specific changes, so Roman Cancel, again, as we mentioned, Fast RC now has slowdown on it. Now causes the tension gauge to gradually deplete. So I saw a lot of adjustments to how meter is changed in the game. So this I have to just visually see. And it doesn't apply to YRC. BRC, they made the BRC cancel faster, it seems like. Purple RC, same thing. This second thing is kind of weird. The slowdown effect for Purple RC now ends when an attack lands. I would really like to see that. That might affect some people. Like if you use projectile to set up a 50-50 with PRC, this might affect you. Red Roman Cancel no longer applies any type of scaling from when the shockwave from the Red Roman Cancel hits the opponents. This one's kind of big. This has actually been around since Exert, this thing. How the Red RC does 0 damage, but like hits you. So this not having scaling kind of evens out the playing field, because some characters have really good PRC conversions, where other characters can't. So I think there'll be some new routes because of this. Blue Psych Burst, so this is Blue Burst. When the opponent inputs Psych Burst before the opponent's overdrive activates, the Psych Burst activation will no longer be cancelled. I think this affects characters like Gio. There's some character. Gio's the main one I could think of. If it reads the way I think of, there are times with Gio where you do like counter hit 5H into super, and you can't burst during the slowdown, and then you get locked out of your burst for the super. I think there might be cases where maybe you can escape now, if I'm reading this right. Okay, so they fixed the bug where activation of the bursts would be delayed in some conditions. When activated above a certain height in the air, the speed the character rises at is now reduced. So this one's pretty interesting. I think this one is to change something against burst safe routes, I think. They purposely made burst faster. In Exerd, I believe Blue Burst is 18 frames in Exerd, where in this game it's 14. And then keep in mind that all the moves have longer total duration as well. So I think they want it to be harder for you to bait bursts, I think, with burst safe stuff, right? When using the dash button, inputting back after the action begins no longer performs the backdash. Dub for the world. Of course, recently, I've been sharing the FD dash thing, but it's just good that this thing is gone, right? Everyone is happy about that. Everyone's happy about that. Input priority, we talked about this. Jumping normals, we talked about this. Especially moves, we talked about this. Some supers are affected by dash momentum and stuff. That's interesting. Faultless defense button added. We know this. But decreasing the amount of tension depleted when blocking attacks. This is a huge one, actually. I think they did this before, too. Oh, no. I think what it was is that they just made it push back more. So they continue to change faultless defense. This really helps characters who are not good at building meter, by the way. For sure. When the wall stick initiates simultaneously with the super flash of certain overdrives, the wall stick effect will now be prioritized. This sounds like some bug stuff. Not gonna lie. Wall break fixed a bug where there would be variation in the distance between characters. I have never seen this, but this one's interesting. Throw fixed a bug where risk level will deplete more than intended when activating roaming cancel during the throw under certain conditions. Okay. Aerial direction switch. Characters now switch direction to face the opponent when canceling some jumping normals. This is actually pretty good depending on the character it's for. If you do not know the rules for how characters switch in Guilty Gear, when you single jump, you don't turn around. When you super jump, you do. When you double jump, you do. When you air dash, you don't. Why are some characters bad at building meter? Like Millia, is there a stat or something that affects meter build? Yes. It's a combination of like the moves the characters actually have and like attack levels and stuff. Do they have Rekkas? Their base meter build, I think. Those are probably the main things. And their tension pulse, which nobody... I shouldn't say nobody knows, but... yeah. So jump landing, they fixed a bug where sometimes only crouching moves can be performed under certain conditions. So we see. 5P, 5K, 2P, 2K, Jumpy, and Jump K all have a unique slowdown on counter hit now. Okay, we mentioned this. 5K and Close S, both dash cancelable. And they changed all hurt boxes, so. Alright. So these are the system notes. Lots of system notes, as you can tell. Alright. Who's eating? Who's eating? Alright, we start just straight down. Straight down. So, I'm also going to try to give how I feel about the changes. I don't think I did that last time, right? I'll give like my thoughts on like how I feel. That's too. We're gonna start with Soul, and we're just gonna move, right? We're just gonna move. So Soul. So adjustment to his crouching kick and sweep improves Soul's low attack options, strengthening his ability to pressure the opponent. Volcanic Viper has been improved as an offensive tool, with adjustments to his hitbox and more, as there was a window with no active hitbox directly as Soul ascends, meaning it would not always function as an invincible move. On the other hand, Standing K and Far Slash were too strong compared to other characters. Their performance has been decreased while leaving their greatest strengths, the attack startup, and recovery on block as is. Interesting. So we see here now, 5K, decreased attack level. The attack level is already low. I think it was like attack level 2? I think it was attack level 2 or something, I think. I'm not sure. So decreasing attack level means like less hit stun, less block stun, things like that. It is a 2-hit move though, so I don't think it matters that much. What is attack level? Attack level is the secret system that determines how much block stun and hit stun everything has. And like how much block stun, how much hit stun, how much hit stop that everything has in the game. It depletes more risk. So I guess that means they're talking about on hit here. Increase blowback scaling on combos starting with Standing K. So it seems to be like a weaker starter basically. Like so it's still like the really good defensive option that we're all used to, but just less return on it, right? Okay. Then Crouching K. Okay. We have decreased knockback. I'm turning this down a pinch, by the way. This is a little loud to me. So that's all they did to Crouching K. This was actually a pretty universal change.
Millia Master Celebrate.
Then Far Slash, decreased damage. So still plus though, but just less damage in all contexts. 6S, less damage. 6H, increased recovery. So we increase recovery, expand upwards hitbox, decrease knockback. So more punishable on block, is still not special cancelable, probably new combos using it, and he gets better Oki with it. Sweep, expanded frontal hitbox and hurtbox. Increase the horizontal blowback distance so it hits away further, it sounds like. And then jump P and jump K, everyone has this change. So it launches higher, doesn't hit as far away as normal. Jump K launches higher. Jump D, less hurtbox than before, and it does less damage to the wall. So it seems like there's probably going to be a lot of new combo routes with him. More advantageous throw, because decreased recovery on successful throw. Gunflame Feint, decreased recovery. DP all versions. So Soul is in a standing position on landing rather than crouching. Okay, that's that's actually favorable for him. Added a hitbox directly after ascent begins, and hitbox now remains throughout. So if you guys don't know, Soul's DP goes like forward and not up. So there's a lot of ways to make the DP whiff by going over it. One thing when people talk about like Millia versus DPs is like they're like, oh, Soul holds her because of DP, but she's actually pretty good against his DPs because of this thing, and it's not because of Capel. It's not because of Capel. There's one that I don't know why people don't talk about. I don't know if it's just like I didn't share it and I just forgot to share it or something, but she can do a cross-up on Soul that beats DP where you just air dash twice. That's the selection, right? So if you already know that they have cross-up DP in their selection, you can air dash twice. The DP will come out, and because the DP doesn't go up, it goes forward. He will DP the wrong way, and you land on the original side, and then you just go and hit, right? So it seems with this change, like that type of stuff will not be as strong / won't be applicable. We'll see. Expanded hitbox during ascent and reduced hurtbox can no longer be Roman cancel while the opponent's gold burst is active. This I did not know was the thing, actually. I guess it was some type of glitch or something, I don't know. And lastly, when blocked in midair, the opponent now lands more quickly than before.
Wani Happy bottom 3, gang Wani Happy last spam.
So it seems like the last two are like really common with all the DPs now. Yeah. You see these two a lot with all the other DPs. Then SDP, it has more startup. And then Air Bandit Bringer has slower startup. Then Night Raid launches higher and doesn't knock back as far. Fafnir, less hitbox, lower. And then last Tyrant Rave is slower with more recovery. So Soul, I think, is slightly down with new combos and better throw Oki. That's basically my impression of this. 5k, lots of things, less damage is a big one. DP buffed and nerfed. Seems like overall slightly nerfed. Good changes to sweep and 2k, I guess. I guess the most important thing will be what his new combo routes would be, because P and K and D, jump P, K, and D are all a lot different, I think. Yeah, he's gonna be one of the characters affected a lot by the overall low damage, because as we used to know, his damage itself was really high and very consistent. So Soul players are gonna be feeling this. I think he feels like he's slightly down compared to before. The biggest dubs for him, I would say, are sweep. He's keeping his 5k, and potential for new combos, I think. Besides that, it looks like mostly nerfs. Kyle. So, the recovery of a dire eclat has been decreased, making it easier to buffer after normal moves. It's now easier to follow up while in the corner. The usage restriction on stun edge has been revised, and the aerial stun edge has been decreased, recovery-wise. Further improving Kai's ability to fight for far range. It is now possible to continue your offense after the opponent blocks Dragon Stall. After activation, the movement speed of his forward movement -etc has been increased, greatly improving his neutral game. Okay. So at a glance, less punishable on Dire Clot, more flexible stun edge, and they just really want you to use Dragon Stall. They really want you to use it. 2k. Why are they decreasing knockback on everyone's 2k? There is a pretty common problem in this game where a 2k will connect and a sweep whiff, so I think this is a universal change to help that with everybody. 6k, so this move is already +4. I think this is a combo change. It can be cancelled into special moves now, where it could not before. Close S, less recovery. This boost -2, so it's either -1 or 0. I think there's a demon timeline where it's like +1, but I don't think so. These close slash changes remind me of Granblue, actually. Then we have far slash, so less hurtbox in front, which I think is nuts, and 2S also less hurtbox. And then JPK also, you know, has the same change as everyone else. JS less hurtbox, even though that move's already esports. JH pops up higher with less horizontal blowback distance. JD jump cancel, air dash cancel, special move cancel, launches high, doesn't launch far horizontally, and can be comboed after dust, it sounds like. Okay. So this one is really big. So this move actually is plus right now if you use it deep. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of things you could use with this move now. This is a pretty big buff. Ground throw, less recovery. The ground throw, reduce recovery. Launches lower, but doesn't knock back as far. I think this is actually good for his, like, mix-up, maybe. We'll see what they do. He has a couple of ways to do setups right now, so I think it'll just give people stuff to experiment with. This one I like. Shock state effect ends now when Kai takes damage. It's overdue. Stun edge. So usage restriction is now removed after a set amount of time passes. So I was talking with people after this, and I feel like this is for when people make stun edge whiff somehow, usually with like low profile moves or 6Ps or something, that he can fire faster, but I'm not sure. Then we have air stun edge, reduce recovery. So if you played against him, you know that this move has just a ton of recovery, this move. So this one is a good one. Charge stun edge, same thing as normal stun edge, but I think it's less meaningful, I think, than normal stun edge. Food Arc. So decrease the attack level for the initial half of active frames. So I think this is a nerf. This reads like a nerf to me. That means I think if you stand block it, it might be like significantly disadvantaged. I'm not sure. This one I gotta like test. But then it also has reduced recovery, so it's like I'm not sure what I'm supposed to make of Food Arc. I'm actually not sure. Vapor Thrust, expanded lower hitbox, aka goodbye Lexi. Goodbye Lexi low profile. Can no longer be roaming cancelled while the opponent's gold burst is active, and when blocked midair, the opponent lands more quickly than before. So again, you're gonna see this on every DP. Dire Claire, reduced recovery. Ride the Lightning, more startup. Dragon Install, so increased movement speed of forward movement, back movement, and dash. Decreased horizontal blowback distance. Decreased recovery. So buffs. So 2k, but everyone gets this. 6k, yes. Close slash. Kai actually. Oh, basically this character's buff. I think it's fucking insane they actually buffed this character. Kai is actually in the game right now. Is a pretty. Kai's that character that, depending on what someone says about him, you can tell how good they are at the game. Because usually people who are new to the game think Kai is not that great, and people who are good at the game, like top players of the game, all say that he's really good. So he has less hurt boxes on his pokes that are already really good, less restriction on using stun edge, less recovery on air stun edge, more special cancel options, more jump cancel options, more launch options, another buff on Dragon Install, probably better throw Oki, better Food Arc. It looks like, I guess it looks like a buff and nerf to me. Can't low profile DP anymore, so so they can't get hoed by DLC 2Ks and stuff. There's barely any nerfs here too, and then he still has all the stuff he already had before, like the eSport 6H, really good 6P. Like I think he's doing pretty well, honestly, compared to Soul, where and also you have to remember that Kai's damage is actually pretty high, and for Soul they mentioned a bunch of like damage reductions, where they did not mention them with Kai. We move on. I think it's overall buff. May, Lady May. So, the properties of Mr. Dolphin, vertical and horizontal, now vary when the button is held down. Although they are straightforward lunge attacks, now in addition to their prior usage, May has more options to change the movement distance or active frames depending on how long the button is held. Very interesting. So let's take a look. Why would you reduce the Kai damage? I'm saying Kai has really big damage in this game already. But all I was saying was that they mentioned just a ton of like soul damage reductions, and they didn't say shit for Kai. Just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. That's all I'm saying. So, Mei. So 5P is reduced startup. So I think Mei has a 5-frame 5P, so this means she'd have like a 4-frame. 6P animation adjustment. We don't know what that means. 5K also faster. 5K I think is 9 frames. 2K again for 2K 2D. I don't think she had this problem, but anyway, it seems to be a universal change. 3K. Ooh. 3K, the opponent cannot recover after landing. This means it is not a hard knockdown, which I think is actually a big deal. Mei, since the game has come out, has been pretty privileged, and she's had like mashing into hard knockdown. Standing 5H, decreased damage. So 5H, lower damage, more hurtbox only during recovery. This move was really hard to whip punish actually for most characters, so I think this is fair. 2H now launches opponent lower. I think this might affect her, not her actual routing, but just make her less burst safe. Mei is very naturally burst safe. 6H, decreased damage. Sweep, expanded frontal hitbox and hurtbox. Don't know why. JP, JK, same stuff. J2H, more recovery. That one is pretty interesting. All horizontal dolphins, lower damage. Active frames increase when the buttons hold down though. And maintains momentum after landing on whiff. I think this one is really interesting actually. I think there will be a lot of interesting combos and pressure of this. Vertical Dolphin, all versions, so movement speed increases when the button is held down, no longer hits opponent when more than a set distance apart, reduced recovery on hit. H Dolphin, when the descending part of the attack hits, the opponent now bounces higher with decreased horizontal blowback distance, increased speed of descent after hitting opponent. And then the super, when blocked in midair, the opponent lands more quickly, more recovery. So, Mei is looking slightly nerfed to me. So here's the things that look good. So one is obviously the faster normals. So faster 5P and faster 5K. So she has a 5-frame 5P now. It looks like it's probably going to be 4. I don't think it's going to be 3. She has a 9-frame 5K now. It's probably going to be 8 or 7. 5K is a really long-range poke that goes over lows. That's really good. The Dolphin changes, we'll see. I think that means you're going to see a lot of new pressure, mix-ups, combos, like everything with that. They really wanted to find her by this move too. I'm actually surprised they didn't buff her beach ball at all. The things that look whatever. Oh, also she has of course the same JP JK buff as everyone else. So again, new combo routes. So I think Mei players should be very open to exploring new combo routes for sure off everything. Sweep is miscellaneous. Like they weren't really throwing out sweep like that before, so it's whatever. Now the big nerfs though. So sweep I think is a major nerf. Because again, she had the privilege of mashing into knockdown. The decreased damage is a nerf, but a lot of characters are getting this. Mei had esports damage. Mei was actually one of the only characters that actually had TOD opportunities and is in a lot of meme clips about her damage. So, I mean, I expect her damage to still be quite high though, because she's known for being a power character. Maybe just not like 95% type shit, you know? The J2H1, I don't know why they gave this more recovery. I think she will still be able to do some of her mix-ups, but it seems like if they defend it, she'll be like disadvantaged or something. I'm not sure where they were going with that. The 5H one, 5H is just overall nerfed, but I think it's a fair nerf. And she seems to be less burst safe overall. I still think you probably can make stuff burst safe. I just don't think she'll have as many opportunities as before. So the way that I see is new ground pokes that you couldn't use before, slightly better defense because you have a 4-frame normal, and it has a new counter hit slowdown, some new tools to play with, some new combos to play with, but 3K doesn't knock down, less damage, and some moves are more punishable on whiff. So to me it reads like a slight nerf. Durag, my boy, Durag, my boy, Durag. So Winter Mantis. This is a command grab. It can now be used in combos, so it's a hit grab now. In situations where Rensen would not connect, Winter. Oh no, Sickle Flash. That's 214H, I think. Now you use the command grab to follow up instead. In the corner, 6K and Rainwater can now be used more easily in combos. If you don't know what Rainwater is, if you think my Axel is really boring in tournament where I play him against Leo, it's the only special move you see me using like 80%, 80% of the time because it makes his DP whiff, right? In addition to improving the utility of pokes such as 2P and Far Slash, his ability to fight from mid-range has also been strengthened by adjusting the attack startup of Aerial Snail, making it easier to connect after jumping S. So actually, when I was talking to people last night, when these patch notes released, a lot of people didn't know how to read his changes, so let's take a look. 2P, more hitbox. Okay, they want you to use 2P. Right now, most of the time, so 2P and 2H have really similar frame data, besides 2H being a higher attack level. So, and 2H has the heavy counter hit. So at the moment, most of the time where people could press 2P, they would probably just press 2H instead. I like this change just because like they're trying to get people to use the move. Like nobody uses this move. 6P launches on ground hit. So this is like the Leo style 6P or the Soul close slash. Now launches opponent higher with decreased horizontal blowback distance. This is combo stuff. 2K decreased knockback. Even Durag had this problem, by the way. So when I played Razo in Twitch Rivals in Game 5. This was actually the deciding factor. I did 2K 2D, my 2D whiffed after I hit Razo 2K, and I got punished. So I punished Razo Leo with 2K. I do 2K 2D. My 2D whiffs, Razo punishes me. And I die from Leo 5K. Okay. 6K added a wall bounce effect. Okay. Now launches opponent lower with decreased horizontal blowback distance. So this is a move you don't see very much. You generally see this in the 5P, 6K Link combos. This one is pretty interesting. Wall bounce combos are kind of privileged in this game because, to my knowledge, wall bounce moves don't do a lot of damage to the wall because when you bounce them off the wall, you can hit them a couple of times off the wall before you put them on the wall again. Okay, so I think that's actually a pretty interesting change for him. Close slash reduce recovery. So Axel has a -4 close slash to my knowledge, so this means -2 or 0 or maybe -1, I don't know. Which is just means better pressure. Standing far slash, reduce recovery. This moves like minus double digits, I think. And better hitbox and reduced hurtbox, so just a better poke in general. I already thought this was a good poke, and now they're juicing it. Cool. 6H, increased knockback. Pushing him back farther, probably on block. The move is -3 on block, so it's punishable by throw. So this would help him out a little bit too. JP, launch opponent lower. Decrease horizontal blowback distance. JK, launch opponent higher. JD, less hurtbox in the front. So again, same type of changes as everyone else. Winter Mantis, so that's the command grab. Again, you can hit opponents while they're taking damage, so that's a hit grab. No longer hits opponent when more than a set distance apart. This one I need to see. This one can mean a lot of things. And then it hits higher. So again, just to make it easier to combo. just so I can make it easier to combo on airborne opponents. Okay. Airsail, faster. Now bounces higher with decreased horizontal blowback distance. This is a really big change actually. So right now, this move is pretty slow. People use it as a frame trap right now, and you can't really follow it up. You don't really get Oki off it too. So at this point, with this change, I think he might get like a soft down, which should help his help just taking his turn and stuff. I think this is a pretty interesting change. I basically do not use this move right now. Axel players kind of mix it in a little bit. Another thing too is it's supposed to be a 10. It's supposed to be a 10-minute. Why? It's supposed to be a 10-minute pain. Anyway, Also, it kind of helps that your JS. So when people get hit raw by JS, most people are not like scared of getting hit by it. So now this should make it a little bit more scary to get hit by straight JS, which I think is kind of good. So Rainwater, they did a bunch of changes here. So reduce base damage scaling. This should mean more damage off it, right? Yeah, more damage off it. Depletes more risk. Increase combo blowback scaling. I think this refers to the game's actual combo system. Like how they actually scale for combos here. I was in the middle of this, right? So reduce base damage scaling, depletes more risk, combo scaling. The combo scaling is for the game's unique combo system, like how hits change the longer the combo is, because again, there's no air teching. But then if it's a starter, you get better combo scaling, which looks good. Causes more wall break. It's increased combo blowback scaling, but now less. Oh, okay, that is two different things. Okay, that was weird. Okay, now less affected by blowback scaling. Okay, cool. Launches opponent higher with decreased blowback distance, expanded upper hitbox. So lots of combo stuff. You basically don't use this move in combos at all. You see this move a good amount. It depends on the matchup, but you see this move a good amount, right? And then Axle Bomber. So they changed it from DP to 236H in the air. Now launches opponent less than previously used when used multiple times in a combo. This might sound like a nerf, and it is a nerf to this move, but he has a lot of new combo changes. Like he has a like 6K, Rainwater, so even if you can't do Axle Bomber a bunch, he has other stuff, so it's fine. And then Sickle Storm, when blocked in midair, the opponent now lands more quickly than before. Mood hitbox of the projectile lowers. So the punish for this is... So I think this move is -2. The punish for this really varies by character. We'll see, because for Millia, by the way, she gets an esports combo off this, so I think this might help characters that don't get good punishes on this. So Axel, I would say Axel looks buffed, but only the only two things though: combo and pokes, a couple pokes. Specifically Far Slash, I think 2P is whatever for now. One thing about 2P, I think it's like 9 frames or something, so that could be pretty good, but it seems to be mostly combo stuff. Now, the big thing about combo stuff, though, is that he gets a lot of strays in this version, so there are opportunities maybe for him to do more damage, because he does have some matchups where his main issue is that he just doesn't get enough return off stuff, so we'll see. I would say slight buff for Axel. Chipp, we hate him. Alright. Chipp, we hate Chipp. We hate Chipp in the stream. Alright, let's see what's good with Chipp. So, Chipp's biggest strength is his amount of options. I thought this game had no options, bro. What do you mean? So we made adjustments to emphasize this advantage. Sleep, but the attack startup of Senshu has been reduced, strengthening it as a mix-up tool. This is a Banzai! If you don't know what Senshu is, it's like sushi, sukiyaki, and then he goes Banzai! And that's Senshu. That's Senshu. Aerial Alpha Blade Diagonal can now be followed up when it hits, but I thought it already could. Okay. Gamma Blade, in addition to becoming more rewarding due to his increase in options, is now more difficult to counter. You hate to see it. So 2K, decreased knockback. Okay, same as everyone else. Close slash, reduce recovery. So I think it's -2 right now, so probably down to 0 or -1. Don't know. Far slash, reduce hurtbox during attack startup. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. This move is OD already, so this one you don't want to see be super good, right? JP and JK, same changes as everyone else. Alpha Blade Diagonal no longer hits opponent when more than a set distance apart. This one sort of makes sense. Compared to the other ones because of just how the move works. I felt like there was a lot of times previously where like I should be crouching under it, but then like I get hit. Maybe. Air Alpha Blade, diagonal. So Chipp lands further than before, less recovery. I thought it was already plus now, though. No longer hits the opponent when more than a set distance apart. Depletes more risk on hit. Increased combo blowback scaling. Causes more wall break value again. So I think it might mess with some of his combo routes. But it launches higher. This looks like a buff and a nerf to me, though. Beta Blade, all versions, can no longer be Roman cancelled while the opponent's gold burst is active. You're going to see this a lot. When blocked mid-air, the opponent now lands more quickly than before. And increased attack startup. That is a nerf for sure. You'd love to see it. Gamma Blade. Increased attack level, so more block stun. And hit stun. Now launches opponent higher on ground hit. They probably want to use this in combos a little bit. Now launches the opponent lower with decreased horizontal blowback distance. Yeah. Depletes more risk, more blowback scaling. Does more damage to the wall. Launches the opponent less than previously when used multiple times in the combo. So maybe Gamma Blade loops, I don't know. And duration longer. So more block stun, more hit stun, more combo opportunity. Senshu, Banzai, right? Banzai. Okay, so faster. So I think this move is like 27 frames right now. I don't know the exact number. I kind of pulled that number out of my ass, but it is really slow, basically. Less recovery. Right now, this move is like it's 28. Yeah, it felt like a 27, 28 frame type shit. Reduced recovery. I want to say it's like -12, -13 right now. They really want you to use this move more. Chipp players don't use this move raw very much. Except for a couple characters. Against a couple characters, I would say. They made it move faster. Creates less distance with the opponent on hit in the corner. The opponent can now recover after landing, so that's a soft down. Depletes less risk, so it is definitely a good combo tool here. The reason why depleting less risk is good, that means there'll be more risk after you hit them. So you can do like more stuff after. It's 25? Is it 25 or 28? Reduce combo blowback scaling on combos to Senshu as a starter. Okay, it's 25. It's 25. Okay. Causes less wall break and now bounces lower with decreased distance. So combo, and pressure tool. They really want people to use this because people don't use it right now. And then they change this super input. Okay. Chipp looks the same, I guess, or maybe very, very slight buff. He has the same system stuff, the same close slash. Far slash, I think, is a buff for sure. Alpha Blade, we'll need to see. Looks like a buff and nerf. Beta Blade is a nerf, but Gamma Blade is definitely buff, and then Senshu is a buff. So, but it doesn't look like they did anything like major to him, like truly major. But we'll see. There could be things that are affected that will affect his current match flow. So that will hurt current Chipp players. But again, I encourage you guys to just explore and see. What is going to be there, because there's also a lot of system mechanic changes too that he's going to be able to interact with. Things like overall lower damage in the game benefit him, using less meter on FD benefit him, and he's good at building meter. So I don't really want to say slight nerf. I want to say overall same. All right, Garda Impact. I said Garda Impact, and the first thing they said for balance intentions is about Garda Impact. That's funny as fuck. So, Garda Impact is now easier to follow up when near the corner, even on air hit, making punishing the opponent's backdash more rewarding. So, if you guys don't know right now, a very good countermeasure for Garda Impact sometimes is the backdash, because you can't combo. But they really want you to hold this. Like, they really, really want you to hold this. They didn't touch Guard Crush at all, too, so... Gigantor Kai used to function as both an invincible remove and as a way to maintain offense. It no longer has invincibility, but has been improved as a tool to maintain offensive pressure. It now works on a block string after 6k, opening up the potential for a high-low mix-up with his Dust or Sweep, or going for a Guard Crush or Guard Impact. So they juice his offense a lot. They're really digging down into this move, bro. So 5k, less hurt box. 2k, less knockback. 2s, less hurt box. 5h, less hurt box. And 5h is already disjoint, I believe. So this one's kind of big. 6h, less hurt box. I thought this was disjointed too. Reduced horizontal blowback distance. The opponent can no longer recover after landing on a counter hit. So that means it's a hard knockdown on counter hit. but then there's less time to combo off it because less tumble duration. Okay. JP and JK, same as everyone else. Potemkin Buster, less hurt box. Okay. And then Mega Fist forward and back, less damage. That's going to affect combos a little bit. Hammerfall, the opponent can no longer recover after landing on counter hit. So they made it a hard knockdown on counter hit. Increase maximum forward momentum time possible. I think it's for... Okay. Okay. Maybe goes further. FDB, that's Flick, right? Flick. Reduce base damage scaling. Depletes less risk. Reduce combo blowback. Less wall break value. This is great for combos. This is great for combos. Guarded impact, less damage, no wall bounce, and added a tumble. So that's for combos. That's for hitting the back set, my bad. Gigantor Kai. So projectile now appears even if the strike lands. Damage and blowback adjusted. No invincibility. Longer tension penalty. Faster. Less recovery. Bigger hitbox on a strike. No longer gains tension when a strike hits. It no longer triggers wall break when a strike hits. The projectile now decelerates and closes the corner. Alright. I would say slightly buffed. Slightly buffed Potemkin. Slightly though, not major buffs. Slight buffs. One, you really have to hold guard impact this time. Like, I mean, you already have to hold it now, but now it's just worse. Interesting pressure setups of Gigantor too. Hammerfall hard knockdown on counter hit. 6H hard knockdown on counter hit. FDB combo buffs. Things have less hurt box. Lots of reduced hurt boxes on him too. Probably the only nerf is just Mega Fist, but it just means his current combo structure is going to be different. So I think overall buff, but just slightly. They didn't fix any of his like main problems, like his 5P is fast but doesn't hit crouchers and shit like that. So unless there's secret changes, he's still gonna have the same issues. And they took away his reversal super, so now his only reversal is Gangster Mega Fist, right? So now we go to Faust. His reversal super always sucked. No, he had super PRC, dude. His reversal was good. Because they had to compensate for the timing. But now they don't have to do it, so. Okay, Faust next. With buffs to standing K and far slash, Faust can now take advantage during the ground and neutral more easily. In addition, mini Faust now attack more quickly to better prevent the opponent's approach, making it easier to use what could this be to throw items. The decrease to the attack startup of P and K Scarecrow make them more viable as surprise attacks. They can also be better when used in tandem with items now, as the attack begins once the button is released. Faust's position after Bone Crushing Assignment cinematic has been adjusted, making it easier to wall break. So, couple things. So let's see. 6P launched opponent higher. Wow. So they want him to have like mix after 6P. 5K expanded lower hitbox. That's a big one too. 2K faster close slash reduced recovery. So here's another one. Faust has a -4 close slash. So we're thinking -2 or 0. Far slash reduced recovery. I think it's like -7 or something. And reduced hurt box means maybe disjoint. 2S, this is supposed to be 2S. Launches on ground hit, launches higher. 5H follow up. The opponent 5H follow up is hard knockdown on counter hit. That one's pretty good. 6H added stagger effect on normal hit, I guess. Jump P, jump K, same things as normal. J2K increased damage. JH seems to be disjointed. Reduced front row hurt box. Mix. Made a timing for controlling Faust's movement direction with back or forward inputs faster. Blowback direction now matches the direction that Faust is facing. Oh, that's good. The final hit during the active frames now has the same properties, regardless of the number of hits. I think this a Faust player would have to tell me this one is important. I think this is important. Banana peels can no longer hit multiple characters at the same time. I didn't even know this was a thing. Afro explosion. Oh my god. So as if he needed another guard crush, but added ground bounce effect on meteors. This is really big because now he can combo off grounded opponents on cross up after meteors. Blowback direction matches the opponent the meteors are falling from. Mini Faust's hitbox activates directly after coming into contact with the opponent or being attacked. This is a buff and a nerf, depending on what you're thinking about the situation. This looks like a buff, but there are actually good things about the mini Faust activating slow sometimes. I think this is like an even change. Personally. Scarecrow now only charges if the same button is used to activate the attack is held down. Okay. Scarecrow all versions attack animation now begins when button is released. Yup. Thrust has less hurtbox. So I don't think disjoint. I just think you can't. I don't think you can't do like full screen 6P anymore. Bomb bag, increased damage of initial hit. Projectile appears even when the move is roaming canceled. This one's good actually. And then bigger hitbox for super, so it's easier to combo into. Sends you the way that Faust is facing. That's obviously good. And now closer to the opponent after cinematic ends. That should help with the wall break. So I think Faust is buffed. I won't say super buffed, but definitely buffed. It seemed, I mean, honestly, it's pretty significant. Like, he has higher launch under 6P, so he should get 6P mix more often. And he has jab into 6P, right? So this one's a big deal. Faster 2K, better close slash, far slash leaning towards disjoint, and less recovery. Someone in the chat corrected me and said it was -12 and not -7. 5H counter hit and the hard knockdown is big. 6H stagger is... It can come up. I don't think it's big. I think it'll just come up. You know, we'll see how it actually looks in the game. The mix stuff is all big, I think. Meteors, I think, is a big change. Scarecrow, I think, is also a big change. Mini Faust is a big change. I think it's both positive and negative here. Thrust, I think, is probably going to be more like Exerd. And then you have to remember all the system changes are probably going to help him a lot too. So, I mean, I think my man is eating. And then you have to remember all the things he's already good at right now, like how good his walk back is, crawl for defense, and things like that. He has super PRC also. So, I don't know. Outlook good for him, for sure. We'll see how it looks like in matches. It seems like his combo opportunities are more consistent as well. So, that looks all good for him. And they made the very woke decision to not buff item throw. Because all I wanted them to do is not buff item throw. Ooh, Millia. It's Millia time. Let's go on to Millia. Millia, balance and tension. So Millia's ground and neutral game has improved due to the increased range and reduced startup of far slash. This one is that sentence is basically just for me, frankly. The changes to jump D, capo, and other moves make for more opportunities to trip the opponent up and deal damage after going on the offensive with JH. Her Oki, after knocking the opponent down, has improved due to the decrease in recovery for the HS version of Tandem Top. So 2P, reduced attack startup. Right now, hers is 5 frames, so that means either 4 or 3. I'm leaning towards 4 here, right? 2K, reduced knockback, reduced upper hurt box. So 2K, this one's pretty big for 2 reasons. The 2K 2D thing is actually...
One happy.
Thank you so much, dude. The 2K 2D thing is really uncommon. It's really, really uncommon, but it does happen. It's really, really uncommon. But the bigger thing is that they gave her a DLC 2K now, which she never had a low-profile 2K before. So this one's pretty big. She has a 6-frame 2K also, so this one's pretty good. Not as good as Axel's, but still very, very, very good here. Close S, reduced recovery. It's -2 right now, so this probably means 0. And then change the on-hit effect of the second hit. This one I just have to see. Millia, Close Slash is one of the only multi-hitting moves in the game where the first hit is jump cancelable. The only other one I can think of is Soul's 5K. So we'd have to see what this means, literally. I don't know what it means. Far Slash, reduce attack startup. Right now, it is 10 frames. The classic Far Slash is 7 frames. I feel like it's probably going to be 9. So, like, Chipp has a 9-frame Far Slash. I don't think they would make this better than 9 frames, I think. Then expand the frontal hitbox and hurtbox. So, there was a version of this game where her far slash beat 6Ps. I think they're kind of reverting this to that, maybe. We just have to see what it looks like and test it against stuff. They also left in her extremely random head invincibility at the end of Far Slash. I don't know if people know about it. It has actually helped me in tournaments. Like, it has come up where I poke with Far Slash and they IED over me and I still hit them anyway. So they just kind of left that alone, whatever. 5H, reduced frontal hurtbox. I think basically I'm the only person who uses this as a poke right now against a couple characters. So this is leaning towards disjoint. This type of thing. It's not a disjoint right now, but it reaches pretty far. It reaches farther than Far Slash. Lots of recovery on with those, so you do have to be careful, but it being a disjoint will make it a little bit easier to use. They probably know how, like, Millia players mostly just don't use this move still. Then you have Jump P, Jump K, same things as everyone else. Jump S, less hurtbox in the front. And then JD also bigger hitbox, reduced hurtbox. This one's pretty interesting. So this one is also a pretty situational move. I mainly use this against Zato. I mainly use it against Zato when Zato is like really high in the air. I use this move to bring him down to the air. That's the main time I use it. We'll see if there's more applications because of this change right here. Ground throw, more recovery. So this is the first time we've seen more recovery on ground throw. Bad Moon. The final hit now launched the opponent higher with decreased horizontal blowback distance. This one can mean a couple of things. So one, they didn't mention the recovery thing, so it's still soft down. But the final hit launching higher with decreased horizontal blowback distance means she should be able to follow up way easier in mid-screen. And maybe get a combo in the corner. That'd be greedy, but I would fucking take that for sure. I'll take that for sure. And also, even if you don't get a combo, it popping up means she has more frame advantage. Right now it's plus 14, I believe. So you should be able to do more of it, which is definitely really nice. Turbo Fall, reduced recovery. I don't think they reduced the recovery last time. In the original beta, actually, she used to have these combos where she'd go to the top of the screen, Turbo Fall to the bottom, and link a close slash. They took that away. I don't think we're going to get that back, but reduced recovery, I think, is definitely something that's going to be a kind of interesting point, for sure. Tandem top all versions, reduced recovery. Hitbox no longer disappears when Millia blocks the opponent's attack. This one's pretty big, so... The second point should be for H-Disc. A lot of people think about H-Disc, but it'll also affect S-Disc PRC, I think, too. This, by the way, I actually do not think belongs in modern fighting games. Frankly, I don't think it belongs in modern fighting games, but I think we take those a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I think we take those. I think there might be other characters who have this in the game right now, and I'm just overlooking it for some reason because they don't normally do it in those situations. The reduced recovery kind of goes in line with the ground throw too, because the ground throw has more recovery, but the H just has less recovery, so it might be the same stuff. Then we have S tandem top increased knockback. I don't know if this means on block or on hit per se, so we just gotta check that. Iron Savior, so that's hair car, so it doesn't hit. Oh, okay, so S disc is definitely for on block. So for Iron Savior, hair car, this is on hit, so it's more disjoint. It's more disjoint. So it's already disjoint now, is what I'm trying to say. It's like a 28 frame disjoint, but now it's bigger. I think that's... So, do I think that's good? I'm not sure. It reads like a combo tool and a situational poke, because right now, the main time I use hair car is actually against like HC and shit, or when I have meter against certain characters. I think it being bigger will just adjust how far I can use this from and like how much threat I can apply with this, I think. Lust Shaker, fix the bug with a final hit would sometimes not cost blowback. This happens a decent amount to me and pisses me off, so I'm glad they fixed that. Capo, so change properties from strike to projectile. So right now, despite what it looks like, it is a physical attack. It is disjointed also though. But now this means like it should interact with some moves differently, which is pretty nice. Reduced recovery, again, affected by momentum, increased damage, and bigger hitbox. So the hitbox was already esports, I would say. I think it's pretty hard to hit anyway. Reduced recovery, again. This one's pretty important, again. Because they reduced the capo recovery in the previous patch. So they have buffed this move multiple times. What does this mean? So in the previous version, she was able to do lower to the ground capital, still like single jump capitals after like rising normals, and link with stuff. But the only thing she can link with is like JP basically, and you get like no damage. You get like a little damage and a soft knockdown. If they reduce the recovery again, it means first of all the damage is higher, but second of all, by reducing the recovery again, plus the changes to JP and JK, at best you get to link like JS stuff, because the move does pop up, by the way. It'll probably link with stuff like JP, which also again it changes how it hits now, so she should be able to make people care about getting hit by this move when they try to anti-air her, which is honestly all I've wanted since the game has come out, frankly. So this one is a pretty good one to me. This is all buffs, frankly. Winger, increase attack startup, increase recovery. When blocked in midair, the opponent now lands more quickly than before. So basically not a 7-framer anymore, less usable as a reversal. But I mean, like, this one I kind of think they should have let rock, but it's normalized, so I don't really feel anything. Honestly, all I see is buffs. I think she got a lot of buffs. The way that I look at it, right, they have buffed her defense, they have potentially buffed her mix-up, and they have buffed her mobility, and potentially, and they buff her pressure also. So we could take a look at some of the stuff. So for example, we have close slash. Close slash is either -1 or even, right? But then she also has a 4-frame 2P, so new frame traps. But then also the P's and K's have all like a unique counter hit slowdown now, so defense is better. She has a low profile 2K, a lower profile. Hers was already low profile ish, but a lower profile 2K. There's system stuff. I know like a lot of other melee players were like, oh, we get these dash cancels. I don't really care about that because like that's just disadvantage. But the more options, the better. I think there's probably going to be some more unique, stable pressure structures that don't like use that so much. Potential changing to routing in just general, you know. JD launching on ground opponent, maybe new mix-up structures. Turbofall less recovery is kind of nutty. Maybe new offense and neutral structures will be there. Capo is probably one of the biggest changes to me too, because it just depends on how much return she has. So these changes all look pretty nice. The main thing is going to be just how naturally she routes into stuff. And if she gets that, then I think it's super buff. But just based off reading this, I think she got like a lot of positive things for everybody basically. Because there's some stuff that like I didn't really see people use that I feel like people will still not use anyway. But I was using, so like how I use far slash, how I use 5H, like things like that. Where things like kind of like fun tools like Turbofall, having low recovery and stuff, people can experiment with combos more. And there's a lot to just look at with routing, because while I feel like she still had some optimization in her routing left, I think having a new baseline to work with a faster H disc and changed hair car, I think is pretty interesting as well. And she's like one of the characters that have like a projectile that is independent of her H disc that she wasn't able to use a lot, where other characters were able to like set theirs up using meter and stuff. Millia actually couldn't do that, so it having less recovery also helps with that too. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. I made a list of stuff I want to experiment like with day one, on day one with, based on how I feel on the character last night, like in the middle of the night. So I don't know. This looks like strong buffs, frankly. Zato Wan. Okay. When Eddie is summoned, Zato can now take more time going on the offense due to the reduced rate of meter consumption, increasing the deceleration as jump D comes out. Zato can now take more time going on the offense due to the reduced rate of meter consumption. Increasing the deceleration as jump D comes out makes it less likely for him to land, improving his utility as an overhead. He can trip up the opponent with difficult to react strings from aerial attacks or 6H. The decrease in combo blowback and other kinds of scaling make it more rewarding to use That's a Lot in combos or strings, even if the drills hit multiple times. Okay, so let's see. So Eddie, reduce meter depletion when not attacking. So they're talking about in between strings. So they already buffed the Eddie meter usage in the last patch, but now this also buffs Eddie meter usage a little bit more. 6P, adjusted animation on hit. We need to see what this means. 2K, he actually has a 2K 2D problem a decent amount. A decent amount. Then reduce attack startup, so I think it's 7 frames right now, so it's either 6 or 5. I'd probably lean towards 6. Close slash, reduce recovery, so again, either it's -2 right now, so either -1 or even, sorry, right? 5H, increased damage, wow, because this move's already esports. 2H, decreased damage, so this is like a really common combo part for him, so he'll probably feel this. 6H, reduce descent speed, so I'm not sure what this means, how this will affect him, I think. This might affect a couple of combo enders, but maybe it will also affect his pressure as well, I don't know. So JP, active frames continue from the initial hit to the final hit. Does it not do that right now? Weird. Expand the lower hitbox and hurtbox of the initial hit. Okay, so it's bigger. JK launches higher. JH, the first half of active frames now launches opponent higher. Oh, so they're giving more opportunities to hit this into combos, it looks like. JD, increased deceleration. Pierce, delay the timing when Eddie gauge is depleted. Initial hit now launches higher, combo stuff. Reduce attack startup of the second hit. I think the second hit thing is to compensate for how many characters have faster normals. That's a lot. That's drills. That is drills. So delayed the timing when the Eddie gauge is depleted again. Decreased damage, but all the scaling will now only be applied once. So I guess overall same-ish damage, or maybe slightly higher damage. Then leap, that's frog. Decreased damage, expanded hurtbox, so easier to hit it. Cool, less damage. We see this in combos all the time. And amorphous, so faster, but faster and moves faster. Zato, kind of interesting, this one. So Zato is very, very represented in tournaments right now. These look like he got barely any nerfs. It feels like they nerfed. It feels like they just changed him and not nerfed him. So if there's any main nerf, it's just that he does less damage off common stuff like 2H and Nobiru. Quite frankly, I already thought of Zato as basically a top tier character as far as performance in tournaments. Frankly, the really big buff, probably the big buff, is just how overall he spends less Eddie meter, where he already spent less Eddie meter. It seems like there's nothing affecting his match flow at all. I think this character is going to be, I think he looks extremely powerful this time, and he's definitely a character that you will need to know this matchup now, because he feels really juiced. He was already performing really well. So this one's kind of nutty that they didn't really slightly nerf him. So Eddie players are definitely eating right now. Where Millia is like a mystery, it reads like all positive changes, but we don't really know what's gonna happen. There's only a handful of Millia players that perform, and as far as consistency, it's very, very few, right? And when I say consistency, by the way, it's at large events, right? Not talking about the weekly net play tournament grind, just major stuff. Zato already performs really, really well, so I expect him to continue to perform really, really well. Ramlethal. Adjustments to the attack startup and recovery of crouching S have improved its utility as a poke, as its lack of range compared to far S made it less useful previously. Ramlethal is now closer to the opponent after Daruo hits on the ground, meaning she can continue her offense with close S depending on spacing. The decreased height of Aggressa or Dodo's Ascent makes it easier to use in neutral. I don't know what that move is, so I just gotta check real quick. I typed in Dust to Dust Loop, and it auto-corrected to Dustin. Yeah, Ram is one of those characters I don't know her move names. Oh yeah, Air G2 for us. So you can use it as a poke. Interesting. The damage distribution of Calvados has been adjusted, making it deal more damage when using combos in order to distinguish it from her invincible move, Motorboat. Okay, so her dash cancel has increased recovery. Interesting. 2K less knockback. I don't feel like she had the 2K 2D problem that much, but whatever. Her close slash -2, so probably -1 or 0, as we mentioned before. Far slash, reduce upper hitbox. Interesting. Does this mean it's easier to low profile it with 2K, or is it easier to 6P? I don't know. And then 2S, less startup, less recovery. I think 2S has a long-ish total duration, but I don't know how much actually. People don't really use her 2S like that. I usually see it in pressure and not neutral, if I do see it at all. So right now it's 12 plus 4. Oh, it has a lot of recovery. It's like 16. It's like 36. So if they reduce it, it's pretty good, I would say. 5H, reduce upper hitbox, same thing. Upper hitbox, I mean, same thing. Jump P, jump K, same changes as everyone else. Bayoneto, so that's the projectile. Delayed timing when the projectile appears. Attack startup remains unchanged. So that means there's going to be a bigger gap between her throwing the sword and the sword exploding. And likely less of like the trade problem where you trade with the Bayoneto, but the sword pops anyway and then she hits you. If Ramlethal takes damage after firing a sword and before it reaches the corner, the hitbox disappears and the sword will be placed on the ground, again helping with that thing. Decreased damage, reduced hitbox of the explosion. I feel like this also means that maybe she'll have less burst safe routes, maybe, because Ram. One really good thing about Ram is that if you are a Ram player, you basically almost never think about burst. She's really, really hard to burst, especially in the corner. I think they should be able to make adjustments in their pressure, but I think it will be difficult because depending on how the gap is, a couple of things could happen. Either it's harder to line up so that the explosion is plus, or you have to put more normals in order to get to that projectile explosion gap, which gives the defender more time to process what's going on. Doro, increased movement distance. This is actually pretty good. No longer causes collision detection push box expand. I think it's about bugs and stuff. Aggressor Adorno, we talked about it. It could be used more as a poke. Calvados, decreased damage of all hits other than the final hit and increased damage of the final hit. Motorboat, more punishable, even though it already was pretty punishable. When blocked in midair, the opponent now lands more quickly than before, which means you can punish it even if you block it in the air, which I think is pretty good. Ramlethal reads like slight nerfs. Slight nerfs. So Far Slash and 5H being nerfed definitely helps for a bunch of matchups. She got none of the P and K buffs that, I mean, she got the system ones, but she didn't get like a faster normal. Her dash cancel increased recovery is a nerf to her Rekka for sure. And Sword got nerfed as well. It should be easier to not just jump out, but it might be hard for her to set up pressure after. The defender gets more time to process what's going on. Way less trades in her favor. Maybe not burst safe, but I don't know. The Doro stuff is nice for sure. And her having more flexible neutral tools. They basically don't want people to be Far Slash and 5H bots. Like, they buffed 2S, they buffed Aggressor Adorno again. Calvados, we gotta see what the damage is like. Ram is a pretty high damage character. They didn't mention that much stuff about reducing damage, so I expect her damage to still be quite high. So I'm reading this as slight nerf, I think. Just a slight. And she's already super juiced right now, so definitely still very relevant character, I would say. Leo Whitfang, the character that has been on everybody's mind. The changes to Zweites Kaltes Gestolbe means that even when the opponent's in the corner, Leo can go into Brynhilder stance. Same as mid-screen. Due to the disparity in difficulty of punishing and dealing with his sweep depending on the opponent's character, so remember his sweep is -5. Its recovery and knockback have been adjusted. Although Leo would be open to a counterattack at close range, sweep during a dash can function as a lunge attack, so... I mean, it already functioned as a lunge attack, by the way. So let's see. 5K, increased recovery. Right now, it's like -1, 9 frame startup, -1, I think. 2K, decreased knockback. I don't think Leo ever has the 2K 2D problem, but I don't main him, so he probably does actually have it in some cases, right? Close slash, reduce recovery. This move's -2, so this is a buff for him. Crouching S, reduce recovery. So you don't actually see this move that much. So I think it's trying to convince people to use the move. Also would be really good for him in pressure because I think it's like -7 and he has like reverse speed. He's got like 2S 5H and like 5H 2S and shit like that. Command normal 5. I think that's the guard point. So I think this is a nerf, by the way. It can withstand the opponent's attacks until directly before the attack is active. I think this is a nerf. I would have to ask a Leo player how they feel about this one. Sweep, expanded lower hitbox, thank God. Wait, actually, no, this sucks. This sucks. That actually sucks. That fucks the team. But more recovery, meaning it's not -5 anymore. But also, a lot of characters have faster moves too. So decrease knockback, so it doesn't push back as far. Increase movement speed, now affected by dash, more affected by dash, and launches the opponent higher. You already got esports combos off this, so I think this move is slightly buffed. It's like buff and nerf at the same time. I hate saying burf, so JP, JK, same thing as everything else. JS, second hit now launches opponent lower. That might affect some of his current routes, I do not know. JH, decreased frontal hurtbox, so better. Launches opponent lower. JD, bounce opponent higher with decreased horizontal blowback. That seems to be another combo thing. Eisensturm, that's his DP. So, has more startup, that's the big dub for the world. Can no longer be roaming cancelled during gold burst. When blocked in midair, the opponent now lands more quickly than before. So DP, easier to safe jump. The gold burst thing is gone. They keep mentioning this. And it's just easier for you to punish when you block it in the air. Switis Cultus Gastoba. Am I even saying that right? Crosses up in the corner. This one's pretty powerful, isn't it? Like, he's just mid-screen all the time. This one's pretty powerful. But also, I don't think you can throw it in the corner now, but it was already punishable before, but I don't think everyone could punish it, so. Okay. Turbulence, soft knockdown. This was a big nerf, I'm not gonna lie. One good thing about him is, like, there are so many ways for him to combo into Turbulence right now. It's a hard knockdown, so, and he gets the back turn off it. If he can't guarantee back turn into like a meaty 5k after Turbulence, I think this is a huge nerf. I don't know if they would go that far though, but just the fact that it's not hard knockdown is a pretty big deal. So back turn K, more damage, and it has the counter hit slowdown, which is big. And then Blitzschlag, so less scaling, so that should be implied more damage. Depletes less risk, that's a buff 2. Reduce combo blowback scaling, that's a buff 2. So like they basically buffed his guard crush move. Alright, so overall, I would say at a glance, slightly nerfed. Just slightly. I don't think it's a big nerf. The main things, so I think everyone is really panicking over the 236H nerf buff. But I think it's a buff and a nerf at the same time, not just a buff. Turbulence, I think, is the most major nerf, honestly. And then he has like combo changes, and more punishable sweep is big too. His sweep is extremely esports right now, so having a more punishable one means he can't go around throwing it against mech characters. 5k being less brawlic is pretty good too. That affects his strike throw quite a bit. But he has the trade-off of having better pressure opportunities off close slash and 2S, depending how they change 2S. Close slash, whatever they do to his close slash, they're going to do to basically everybody's close slash, right? So there's the additional thing too of with the Zwite going into the corner. Now he might have to make the Millia choice of like, should I actually put myself in the corner and get bursted in the corner into Oki? Like that might suck too. On top of that too, Oki seems to change off sweep also because it has more recovery again. And then the main thing that I guess stays is that even though his DP is nerfed, they didn't change the recovery of the DP. So if he does reversal DP, he still probably gets the same Oki. But they increased the attack startup of all the versions, so we also don't know if he gets mashing into DP. But then also like mashing into like 2PP into HGP, for example. But also he has 2P counter hit like everyone else. So Overall, like I said, it looks like a slight nerf. I don't think it's like a major nerf in any way. But the turbulence, I think turbulence is really gonna determine how he's gonna be. Nagoriyuki, the Hotashi character. The properties of such moves as far slash and crouch slash can now vary depending on blood. This means there's a greater benefit to keeping the blood gauge high compared to before. As Kamuriyuki was still significantly stronger than Zarameyuki and Shizuriyuki, the situation on block is now less advantageous. The latter part of Fukyo can now be cancelled into some special moves, opening up greater possibilities for using Fukyo neutral. So, what they're saying is more normals are going to be affected by blood. Beyblade, they had the feeling that Beyblade was too good or people were using it too much. So they changed the situation on block. Zarameyuki is the teleport, Shizuriyuki is the DP, right? So 2K, decreased knockback. Again, I didn't think that he had the... Not only did I not think he had the 2K 2D problem, they generally do 2K special move anyway, but hey. Far slash, attack startup now varies based on the blood gauge. Damage and chip now varies based on the blood gauge. So for these next couple of ones, we just have to see what they change the values to. No way to know how to feel about this until we know for sure. 2S, attack startup, same thing. This can read a couple of ways, right? It could be like a buff overall, you know. Damage and chip now varies depending on the blood gauge. Crouching H, reduced lower hitbox, so they're making it more of a dedicated anti-jump type of thing. JP, JK, same change as everyone else. JS, attack startup now varies based on blood gauge. This one's pretty interesting. JH is only chip damage, not startup. JD also gets just changed too. So I feel like now we have to pay attention to this for more stuff. Generally, the higher his blood level is, the faster his moves get. So just keep that in mind. Blood Rage, decrease opponent's reeling time doing guard crush. So right now the guard crush is a -7 guard crush. With more negative guard crush, that means the punishes will be leaning more towards TODs against him. And frankly, he can hold that anyway. Anyway. Zarameyuki, so this is a clone again. So he has the same thing as Eddie, where the time for the gauge to go up is delayed. And the DP and Beyblade also have this. Delay the timing, they did that again. So decrease knockback. I think increase horizontal blowback distance. They usually use this for on block, and they usually use the knockback thing for on hit. If I'm recalling correctly, right? No longer causes collision detection. Push box to expand. That's the same thing as Zato, right? Increase recovery. So right now it's 0, so it might be more negative. Increase movement distance, so they want to give it a trade-off, so it moves further. Right now it moves about 2/3 screen. If it moves full screen, then I think that would be weird, I guess. I'm not sure. Momentum now retains when canceling into other special moves. I don't know. This one looks like you can get some pretty creative stuff with this. So Shizuriyuki, this is the DP. So delayed the timing, so same thing. And added a ground bounce to the second hit. I thought he had that already, but I think it might only be on counter hit. So again, this is combo stuff. Anything combo related will help Nago a lot because he's really good at comboing in general. Fukyo, so delay the timing when the blood gauge begins to increase. The later half of the move can now be cancelled into some special moves. We gotta see how this works. And momentum now retains when cancelling the other special moves. So my dude is about to schmoof, basically. So, what was I saying? Yeah. Watsudayuki, there's a situation where you hit far enough so that the cinematic doesn't happen, but he can follow up with 6H and break the wall. It does mad damage. So, he's not going to have that now, it seems like. And then the normal thing of you don't need to IB to punish it when you block him here. So Nago looks overall the same, maybe slightly buffed. It basically depends on how you interact with his special moves now. Because, honestly, I'm going to give it overall the same. One, they positively change basically all his sword normals depending on blood gauge. Like, if we base it based off how his heavy normals work, that means when it has more blood, all these buttons now are faster now and do more chip and damage, right? But Blood Rage is more punishable, which punishes sloppy players. And then Beyblade, even though it moves further than before, it's disadvantaged now, meaning that I think there's going to be a lot more situations where he's disadvantaged on offense than before. But I think overall he seems to be the same. I can't really call this a nerf. There is no mention at all of like changing his conversion ability thing. And again, remember, the most important thing about him is his damage and conversion ability. So they didn't really mention anything about lowering damage at all, or making things cost more or anything like that. They just made like, I feel like they made it so that he has to play closer to you, basically, because of how they changed some special moves, and that's really it. You know, I think you guys dodged big nerfs, I think, and that he's gonna stay basically the same. The only additional thing I could mention for him is like system stuff, because there are some routings that he has where he uses the same move multiple times, so that probably affects him negatively somewhat, but like we just have to see how that is. Honestly, right now I think he mostly is the same. Mostly is the same. He has buffs and nerfs and ends up like even, I think. Giobanna with a B. Okay. We made adjustments to emphasize the distinctive features of each special move. I'm gonna need Dust Loop open for this because I never use her move names. Her move names are all in Portuguese. So after Giobanna leaps up doing Sol Puente, her forward movement can now be controlled with forward and back inputs. The reduced startup also increases its utility as a mix-up tool. This is 214S. 214S, I want to say it's 24 frames right now. It might be, actually, no, it might be 28. I might be tripping. Oh shit, that shit's 30. Goddamn. That shit's 30, okay. The decreased recovery of Travail further strengthens its ability to maintain offensive pressure. Right now it's +2. That means they made it more plus, which is, did she need that? But okay, whatever. And Sol Nascente, this is the DP. Now functions better as an anti-air move due to expanded hitbox. Imagine them thinking that this move was not a good anti-air, but hey. But hey. So dash. The movement distance can now be altered with back or forward inputs during the animation. So I feel like she kind of had this with crouch and like canceling normal, so they're just giving you more control, which is nice. Her dash is actually one of the reasons why she's considered so strong right now in general. So more control over dash, good for her. Normal moves and command moves. Added chip damage when at over 50% tension. This is nuts, I think. For a mid dispenser with plus stuff, this is nuts, personally. Crouching K. Decreased knockback, expanded upper hitbox, and hurtbox. So might not low profile so much. She literally does not have a 2K 2D problem because her 2K 2D does not combo. The decreased knockback might nerf a secret about Gio, where if she does dash 2K, you can't throw the 2K. You actually can't throw Punisher 2K right now. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing if this makes it so you can punch it with 2K. Punch 2K with throw. I would hope not, because that shit was lit, but we'll see. Because she does have more control over her dash, right? So anyway. Forward slash, decrease horizontal blowback distance. We've been saying this is a pushback on block. Sweep, increased recovery. I mean, for those of you that don't know, this move is like only 7 frame total recovery. Like this move is so fucking impossible to whip punish. So we'll see how much they add. But I think this one is pretty fair, honestly. Increased recovery also means probably worse frame data also. This sweep is -3 on block right now. This move is really, really, really strong. It is definitely one of the moves. So this sweep is like a move designed to destroy new players, and it's very scary at high level too. But at high level play, you don't get hit by this much, like so random. But against like at like mid and low level, like people get hit by this all the time because they're foiling and shit. So this actually decently. I honestly expected this move to get nerfed, frankly. PKS. PKS, all the usual buffs that we've been seeing for air normals in general. JH, launch of opponent lower. Again, gonna affect combos, we shall see. JD, less damage is a big one, because she uses JD She uses JD quite a bit in her combos right now, but the second hit launches higher, so there might be some easier combo routes here for you. And then we have the throw, right? So the reduced throw range, so this one's a little sad for me. This means that she has the Millia Chipp throw. Millia and Chipp have the smallest throws in the game, but Gio still has the super OD dash, so it should be fine. Sep Utura, right? Utura, that's 2 and 4K, right? I always forget. Yes, okay. Decreased damage, reduced lower hitbox, and her box. So less vulnerable in her legs, but also doesn't hit usually. And decreased damage. This one's a little sad. Slight nerf overall, I'd say. Choval, that's the 226S. Expanded the maximum distance with opponent from which it can connect. Increase active frames, reduce recovery. So more plus, closer. Like, they buffed this move for sure. This move is not that fast. It's 27 frames. And you don't see it too much. And there's actually a gamble after this right now because it's only +2. I'm saying only +2, but it's a 27 frame move. So then we have the DP. So reduce the lower hitbox, extended the upper hitbox. So it's easier to hit this with low attacks, and it's better as an anti-air. This move is still pretty good. Just better at doing what it already does. And then we have Sol Puentes. This move is 30 frames. This is the hop kick. Movement distance now varies depending on whether you tap forward or back. The opponent can now recover after landing. So soft knockdown, but then it bounces higher. So more frame advantage off it. This one's weird. Increased recovery, increased attack level of the second hit. So if you don't know, this move actually has 2 hitboxes. One of them is on frame 4 and the other one's on frame 30. Reduce attack startup of the second hit. So again, right now it's 30. I'm guessing 27. If they make it even faster, then sheesh, right? It's also affected by momentum, and her dash is really good, so we'll see about that. I think you might see a lot of like left-right mixed up with it maybe. And then the super increased startup. Her super right now is 4+3. She has a 7 frame, and the travel time is pretty good too. So we'll see about this. I'm thinking overall the same for Gio. More control on her dash is really good. Again, there's system stuff, which is good. System thing, by the way, FD being costing less meter to use definitely affects Gio. But then the sweep nerf is like obvious, and the 214K nerf is obvious. But Cheval buff and 214S buff, yeah. So like I was saying, they want you to use more special moves for sure. A lot of Gio pressure has been optimized to being like a couple of character lengths away from them, especially with sweep being like -3 and stuff like that, and being disjoint and like how the gap works. I think you'll still basically be able to do that style of pressure, but you'll be encouraged to gamble a little bit more with special moves. I think it's overall even, I would say. So far we'll have to see, but I would not, if I was a Geo player, I would not be very sad right now. And of course, just like everyone else, more combo opportunities and new combo conversions and things like that. Anji Mito. Fujin. The crux of Anji's offense and its followers have improved utility. The decrease in recovery of Fujin makes it harder to punish on block. It's now easier to maintain the offensive after the opponent blocks Shin, Ichishiki, and Rin's. Oh my god. Yeah, you already know I gotta bring this shit up. And Rin's decreased startup makes it a better mixer tool. As the movement speed of Shitsu decelerates near the corner, it functions better as an Okizeme tool near the corner. Interesting. 2K, decreased knockback. I didn't really think he had a 2K 2D problem, but hey. Close / less recovery. I think his is -2. It might be -4. / reduce attack startup and reduce frontal hitbox. Okay, good. 2S, reduce attack startup, reduce frontal hitbox. Okay, so it's better poke. Standing H. Opponent is now forced into crouching state on ground and counter hit. That should be good for conversions for sure. Jump P, jump K, same stuff as everyone else. Jump D, bigger hitbox, reduce hurtbox. So good at floating and stuff. The projectile decelerates when close to the corner. Good for Oki, as they mentioned. Fujin, less recovery. Fujin right now, I want to say... I'm not going to talk about it out my ass right now. Fujin is -16. So we'll see what they do. So again, keep in mind that DPs are also nerfed. So Fusion charge, higher attack level, but no longer launches opponent on ground hit. I don't know if that's something that Anji players will be sad about. Higher attack level after fans means more block stun, more hit stun, you know, all that stuff. Nagia increased attack startup though, and I thought this was like instant. It's like 13, right? But then there's Rin where it has less startup. So right now it's like 25. It's kind of like Senshu with Chipp, where that move is 25 also, but they're trying to make it a little bit more usable. To be honest, I didn't want this fucking gorilla ass character to just like 50-50 you off Fujin all the time, but we'll see what the startup is on this move. People already try to use this move like it's a 50-50, so we'll see. It also has less recovery too. This move is pretty disadvantaged. It's minus 15 right now, so we gotta see. Good in combos because of less risk depletion. Decreased combo blowback scaling for combos with Rin as a starter, meaning it's a good starter. Less damage to the wall, bounces lower, less blowback distance, all combo stuff, right? And then Ko, decreased damage to second hit, and the opponent can now recover after landing, which means the guard crush thing is not a big deal, but I guess they were like, oh, he already gets a follow-up, so it's fine type thing. And then the super does more damage. Which super is this? Oh, it's the fan super. Oh, I read that wrong. No, I read that thinking about the guard crush. Oh, no hard knockdown. Let's go. Let's go. Anji, huh? I would say buff, but not heavy. Just buffed, I would say. Not heavy buff. Between system stuff and DPs being weaker, and then Fujin having less recovery, Rin being faster, Nagia being slower, I don't know how Anji players feel about that. Pokes being better are good, but they didn't talk about the total duration of stuff, and I always thought that was his main issue, was the total duration of stuff. Oki seems better, but then no Oki off Ko, and I don't know how often he uses Ko to go in. So it seems like buff, but I do not know. I think it seems like more than a slight buff, to be fair. But if the Ko changes affect his match flow, then it's only like a slight buff. Again, you have to remember too, he gets more combo routing this time. So Ino specializes at closing in quickly from mid range to start her powerful mix-up game. However, she now has more options to pressure the opponent from mid to far range as well. The additional projectile range for Chemical Love makes it easier to hit the opponent. Aerial antidepressant skill now has different utility than the ground one due to the increase in movement speed of the projectile. Stroke the Big Tree heavy version was an incredibly powerful tool for continuing offense. This capability has been reduced by increasing its recovery while maintaining its speed and reward on hit. Let's see. Her air dash, so you can now alter the trajectory with up or down. That's really good for a bunch of stuff, like messing with 6P timings, mix, all sorts of things. Probably combos too. Air backdash, same thing. 2P, reduced startup. I think she has a 5-frame 2P, which means she would have... I might be wrong though. She might have a 6. Yeah, she has a 6. Okay, she has a 6, my bad. So, likely 5 here. 2K, she definitely had a 2K 2D problem. And now it's going to low profile even more. Like, I thought it already was pretty low profile now, but whatever. Close slash, reduce recovery. Assuming hers is -2, it's going to go closer to 0. Crouching S, reduce attack startup, and expanded frontal hitbox and her box. So, changing her ground game a little bit. I already thought her ground game was pretty good. So, again, anything that helps with that is really good. JP, JK, same stuff as everyone else. Antidepressant skills. So this is the note, I believe. So it's easier to manipulate, and the projectile appears even when the move is Roman cancelled at an earlier point than before. By the way, this change is a very Exert style change of like YRC projectile style thing. Making it so that it's easier for it to come out when you do it early, so that they can't get punished while doing it. Fix a bug where the attack would sometimes remain on screen longer than... I've never seen this. Wow. Then the air one, the air projectile moves faster. And has more recovery though, okay. Chemical Love, increased active frames. That's it. That's all they did, was increased active frames. Seems to be the same type of move. Stroke the Big Tree, more recovery, so not as plus. More stagger though. So probably more guaranteed follow-up, and then decreased knockback, right? And then sultry performance, the dive, the final hit during the active frames now has the same properties regardless of number of hits. This is the horizontal charge thing, the Psycho Crusher. Ultimate Fortissimo, increased attack startup. Okay. So less good as a reversal, but it was 8 frames already, so I didn't think it was a big deal. So this one actually looks like a pretty big nerf though. The aerial ultimate Fortissimo, so the air one, she could 50-50 you off this, basically guaranteed. This means she will have to do something in the air. I don't know if this means the mix-up is different or it's just gone. I'm not sure. I'm leaning towards it's just different, frankly. Because right now what happens is that she falls instantly and she just mixes you off that. I would say she's kind of eating. She looks pretty good. The mobility is probably the biggest thing to me besides like system changes. The 8-stroke is definitely kind of a nerf, but depending on what they've done with the note and how her air dash works, I think she'll have a lot more variety in her offense now, which is really, really good. But this reads like slight buffs. I know some people were freaking out and saying like she was ridiculous. This only looks like slight buffs to me, but we'll see what this looks like in the wild. All right, Goldlewis Dickinson. All right. Goldlewis is now capable of more powerful offense and neutral due to the changes in some of his normals, including standing HS and jumping D, as well as buffs to his projectiles such as Thunderbird and Burn It Down. Due to the increase of movement speed and momentum for 6H, it is extremely potent when cancelled into Behemoth Typhoon. The properties of Thunderbird now vary depending on security level. Alright, let's see. This is a character I really didn't want to see get buffed, really. I think this character is fucking scrubby, to be honest. So I was not trying to see this character get buffed, but let's see what they did, huh? So 6P, he needed this, frankly. 6P, he needed a 6P change. His 6P was really cheeks. I'm totally fine with this. 2K, decreased knockback, which he did have a 2K 2D problem. Reduced recovery, making it safer. Also, I noticed, I think his fastest move is 2P at 5 frames. Some characters are really good at fighting it, some characters are not. If you can low profile his 2P, his defense is like ultra struggle bus. Close S, reduced recovery. What the fuck? Close S, isn't his close S plus already? Yeah, oh no, it's -2. Okay, my bad. I was like, I thought the shit was plus. Okay, yeah, okay, my bad. I thought it was plus. I'm bugging. Sorry, my bad. Far slash now moves forward, reduced frontal hurtbox too. So this move, far slash is a hard move to use because it's a counter poke. So a lot of Goldlewis players are like, he has no pokes, but they're thinking of it wrong because they just want to go in, right? Like it's supposed to be a counter poke. So now they're turning this into a poke. It advances and it seems to be leaning towards disjoint, which is really strong. 5H expanded frontal hitbox. I think 5H also was already disjointed already, so just made it bigger. 6H increased movement speed, now maintains momentum. 6H is not itself fast, but he's gonna have like lariat type stuff. It's like 25 frames. It's a huge move. Just another way to like slide his way in, kind of like that. JP, JK, same as everyone else. JS, already an esports move. They reduced the hurtbox in front. JD, same thing. So this JD thing is crazy. So they reduced the hurtbox, even though it's already hard as fuck to anti-air, and they made it faster. But the make it faster thing makes sense, and I'll explain why. So right now, they do like JD into Behemoth Typhoon stuff, right? And the assumption is that you block the JD and he does Behemoth. But the timing where the JD can vary, right? So he is generally even-ish, usually leaning towards disadvantage on this jumping poke. And now it seems like he's going to be leaning towards even-ish advantage instead. And he might be able to do Behemoth Typhoon follow-ups on JD block that he might not have been able to do before because the JD itself is faster. But it might be a little bit easier. No, actually, no, not. Ignore that. Thunderbird. Okay, so they did a lot. This is the drone, right? So delayed timing of the security level reset. You've seen this delayed changes to gauges for a lot of characters. Recovery now varies depending on security level. That means he will get more advantage likely depending on the security level. Clash level. So that's the level of projectile versus projectile. Now varies depending on security level. The projectile now decelerates when close to the corner, like Anji's butterfly. Active frames extend after connecting with opponents, making it easier to combo. And block string, by the way. Block string 2 is good. Decrease horizontal blowback distance except for the final hit. Keeping you closer, easier to follow up again. The timing when the hitbox no longer disappears if Goldlewis takes damage after firing the projectile now varies depending on security level. This is really strong. Again, I'm not usually a fan of characters getting to have the thing stay out when they get hit. Keep in mind too that security level is just passive. It just goes up over time. There's no like real management of it besides when you feel like using it, basically. Remove the set distance with opponent required for the final hit to connect, and the opponent can no longer recover after landing, so it's hard knockdown as well. So they did a bunch of things to it. Basically, they made the set play better, they made the offense better, and they gave him an additional hard knockdown. This character already has a ton of hard knockdowns already, so just keep really leaning into the offense, right? Skyfish delayed the timing of security level reset, that's the gun. Down with the system, so we've seen this, a lot of characters have this change. When you block it in the air, you'll be able to punish really consistently. Burn it down, reduced recovery, increased attack level. This is the tracking pillar super, so he recovers faster and seems to have more blocks done, hits done, all those things. I would definitely say buffed. Buffed, not super fixing all his problems, but I would say buffed for sure. Here, his XP is better. A lot of people saying car. Just wait for that stuff. Just wait to see. You know, you're kind of guessing right now. You only have to wait one more day. A couple more tools in neutral, but still kind of counter poke style character. He was really consistent at converting into knockdown. I think really the big changes are probably like 6P, Far Slash, Thunderbird. Probably the big ones, I would say. Jacko is a character I'm keeping my eye on, right? Due to the increase in initial servant level, Jacko now has more freedom to use servants in neutral combos right after the round starts. Throw servant and servants hit by servant shoot would often lose against other projectiles despite requiring more steps to activate. This has been improved by increasing the clash level of servants. I've talked about this quite a bit, how she's a multi-step character, so they're just acknowledging this, right? So, one of her actual main flaws is that she only starts with one servant gauge, so she's like weaker at the start of the round. Or I should say, I mean, yeah, she's weaker. Like, she's still strong, but she doesn't get to do all her best stuff at the start of the round. So this is a big buff for her. 2P, reduced attack startup. I think her 2P is 6 or 7. I forget what her 2P is. Her 5K, less recovery, that's a buff. 2K, reduced attack startup. This move is 7 frames, so it might be 6 or 5, we don't know. Reduced recovery as well, and decreased knockback. Jacko never had a 2K 2D problem to my knowledge, so the knockback thing is whatever, but they did that to everybody, right? Close S, reduced recovery. This is a pretty universal change. 2H, decreased horizontal blowback distance. This is definitely a block string thing. Sweep, reduced attack startup. This is pain, but it's still not as good as Exert, so. Jump P, Jump K, same as everyone else. Jump H, expanded the lower hitbox and hurtbox of the initial hit, the first hit. I didn't think this move was particularly difficult to anti-air, so we'll see how it is now, right? JD is pretty big, right? So jump cancel, air dash cancel, special move cancel. Special move cancel, probably mainly a thing when she had between like soccer kick and also servants if they're available. Cannot be canceled into a finish blow during homing jump, just like Kai. So really big buffs. I think this affects Jacko way more than Kai also. Right. Throw servant, so less recovery. I already thought the recovery is pretty fast, but whatever. And the servant has a higher clash level, so when it interacts with projectiles, we'll have to see. Release servant made the timing of the tension gauge increase upon special move activation faster. This is a subtle buff for her. Less recovery, again big. Made the timing of the tension gauge, so this is the same thing. Attack command, faster startup and recovery. This thing was already really fast. This thing was already instant too. No change to frame advantage, but faster. Very interesting. Attack command when lifting a servant, so same thing with the meter. Attack command while lifting a servant now deals damage. Did it not deal damage before? But interesting again. Anyway, but I think that's one where I never really saw that move, so it might be combo stuff, right? Defend command, increase the time window during which servants can withstand attacks. Right now, it's like parry like timing. I don't know the exact number, but it seems like really tight. People don't use it a lot. I feel like it now deals more damage, by the way, because I was like, doesn't it already deal damage? That looks like a typo. I agree. And then they made the servants bigger. Okay, some more meter stuff for both the countdown and the defend command while you're holding the servant. Servant shoot, that's a soccer kick. Increase the active frames, reduce the recovery. Right now, I think it's 0 on block. Oh, there's no change to frame advantage, so I gotta see how this works then. And then increase clash level of servant when you kick it. And then reduce deceleration on aerial servant kick. Expanded hitbox and hurtbox. And then also for super, you get the servants back. So seems like many buffs. Normals are better and faster. More opportunity to do her bullshit at the beginning of the round. Oh, my bad. When I say that about the soccer kick, my bad. When I say about the soccer kick, when I say it's 0, I mean soccer kick into minion is 0. My bad. The move itself is not 0. The move itself is not 0. It's when it's her frame data changes when she pulls out a minion. It's +4 if she holds a minion. No, right now it should be 0, right? It's attack level 3. Because I believe her 5H into held minion is +2. I mean, yeah. What I'm saying is like now the soccer kick should be leaning towards plus. 5H1 hold minions +7. What the fuck? No, it should definitely be minion summon is 14. 5H no wait 5H is attack level 4. 5H is 18 frame block stun. Minion summon is 14 or 16. I'm bugging right now. Oh yeah, I'm bugging. That's +4. So wait, so servant is +2. Sorry, soccer kick into minion holds +2. Yeah. Okay. We're all bugging. Okay. Anyway, but yeah, like she just gets more opportunity to do her bullshit really early. We'll see what they end up doing combo wise and stuff. This is a character I'm keeping my eye on because I think she's scrubby, honestly. And if they buff her too much, then I'm gonna play her. So, frankly, I'm just gonna keep an eye on what they're doing because like they made servant attacks faster and stuff. She gains meter back from stuff faster and stuff. So, yeah, like this is a character that I really dislike. And I'm paying very careful attention to because if I think she ends up being a problem, I'm going to play her. So basically, I'm going to start learning her like this weekend, slowly. Because I think this character is mad scrubby, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie, I think this character is dumb scrubby. So it looks like you guys got some good stuff, all jokes aside. And we'll just see. We'll just see what happens. Happy Chaos. This is one that a lot of people wanted. So the amount of concentration it depleted now varies depending on the distance between Chaos and the opponent. Is more difficult than before to continuously use fire from long range. On the other hand, he can now use powerful strings at close range while spending less concentration. The sight now targets the opponent when they block at the ready, meaning he can now maintain his offense more effectively. As fire can be used during the newly added dash cancels, he can more easily approach from mid-range. Concentration, so they mentioned this. 2P, this move I think is 6 frames, so now it's probably 5. 2K, less knockback. He kind of has a 2D problem. Kind of scrubby, but you'll also play her if she's better. Yeah, for sure. If I think she's too good, I'll play her. For sure. I thought Jacko was pretty underrated in this version. I understand how they feel about matchup stuff, but I thought her match flow was just bullshit. So, seeing that she got a bunch of buffs, I'm definitely gonna keep an eye on it. Okay, anyway, we continue. So, close S, reduced recovery. Oh, that's close. Okay, the normal thing, my bad. Far S, increased knockback, reduced recovery, increased movement speed. Interesting. Crouching S, expanded upper hitbox and hurtbox. Okay, probably not disjoint. Probably more combos, no disjoint. JP, JK, same stuff as everyone else. J2K, reduce attack startup, reduce recovery after connecting with opponent. Wow. Decrease the height of bounce. Wow. Alright. At the ready. I'm saying wow because he has a 50-50 off it, but it's pretty expensive. Where now it might be just straight up like less expensive than before. 236S, reduce recovery, increase base damage scaling, depletes more risk, increased combo blowback, now causes more wall break value. But he gets to shoot right away too. Hitbox now disappears when a Chaos takes damage on fire. Decreased knockback. Decreased damage on fire during steady aim. This is a big one for him, obviously. Steady aim made the timing of the tension gain increase upon special move activation faster. We've seen this quite a bit. Reduce recovery after exiting a stance with 214S. Weird. Reload made the timing of tension gauge upon special move activation faster. Chaos now remains. Wow, so he's in CH the whole time. Focus made the timing. Okay, same thing. Roll can use faster, fire faster than before. Maybe some combo stuff. Should make some of like some of the hard things like the far slash, fire into clean hit a little bit easier because you can use roll instead. Scapegoat uses more HP. Properties now vary when activated at low health. Interesting. And then curse goes away when he gets hit. So this he needed this. He needed this actually, because this is basically he curses you, you hit him, he bursts you, you're still cursed. So I think the main thing that has happened is he is slightly nerfed. So right now, as I mentioned earlier this week, is that he starts the round with 3 steady aim shots. Right now, he can only do 2, but people use the steady aim shots to get curse. So now you have less time to convert the situation, which is convert the situation was pretty good. His defense is slightly better. A couple of his pokes are worse. Damage slightly down. Zoning should also be less, but we don't know how many shots he gets from full screen with focus. Right now he gets like 6 or 7. We gotta see what he gets. Now the downside is his mid range is gonna be a lot better, and at high level HC actually they only zone as checkmate for checkmate stuff. So again, like I said, honestly, a lot of people just gave up on learning how to fight him. Your basic happy chaos player, honestly, is kind of shitty. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Most of y'all, I don't blame you for relying on the auto zoning the way you do, but you lean way too hard into it and you count way too much on them getting hit randomly by stuff. And now the backdash buff is gone. The backdash bug is gone, and FD costs less. So this really, really nerfs shitty, like, oh, I'm just picking Happy Chaos because he's quote-unquote broken. But if you were an already strong Happy Chaos player, you basically shouldn't care too much besides there's less checkmate, I think. So there's more mix-up opportunities with J2K, and he uses less concentration when you're point blank. And they didn't mention any changes to, like, level 2 steady aim. So assuming no stealth nerfs, I think this character is still very relevant, and I will continue practicing the character, I think. And 2S nerf is actually a big one too. The curse needed to be done, but I think the main time it's a thing is when he curses you and you hit him right away and he bursts you right away. So overall, I would say it's a slight nerf. I think he still looks very, very strong. He already was not that common in the general populace, so I think you're gonna see way less random people playing him. But I think he'll still be relevant in tournaments, especially considering how strong Zato is, I think. Baiken. Alright, we only got a couple more characters. These changes make it easier for Baiken to maintain her offense. The decreased recovery of the S Kabari means she can have an advantage while attacking when the opponent is tethered. Her combos are now more likely to connect from a certain distance due to the expanded hitbox of Tatami Gaishi and the momentum remaining at the canceling 6k. Okay, so 5p, this is a 5-frame move right now, so we're assuming 4. 2k reduced knockback for the 2k 2d. For the 2k 2d, 6k momentum now remains when cancelled, we just saw that. Close slash less recovery, hers is like -2, so we're thinking 0 and stuff. 2s, reduce recovery and reduce hurt box, so this move is already really, really good and very hard to whip punish. I think for her far slash, you basically can't whip punish right now. So now it's like, wow, you can't whip punish it, and it has no hurt box. So lots more flailing of this move by Baiken players. Baiken is honestly a pretty flailing character already. So like, this is a big benefit for her. Like, she already was kind of like no footsies type energy, and now like they kind of are leaning into that. 2H no longer hits opponent when more than a set distance apart. Reduce upper hurt box. Maybe I have to see what this means again. More low profile is good for her though. Forward slash, reduce recovery and reduce frontal hurtbox, so same thing. She had a 10 frame already, and this move was basically impossible to whiff punish, so this shit's crazy. JP, JK, same thing as everyone else. Tatami now activates even after upwards input. So I heard the issue was like when you TK it, sometimes the move doesn't come out, so maybe this is to help with that. They didn't really mention it with Bad Moon or anything like that, so we'll see. And they made the front hitbox bigger. Okay. Air Tatami Gaishi, expand the back hitbox of projectile during descent. I think this is for when people run under it sometimes. We'll see about that. S Kabari, so more flexible with inputs, easier to input. Increase, so it's slower. It's slower but less recovery. Increased knockback, so it has more pushback. On ground hit, the tether no longer pulls the opponent in during the animation. I see. Kabari H version now activates, so again easier to input, and then now less affected by combo blowback scaling. I know there was some combo funkiness with this move, so I think that's what it is. H Kabari follow up, so has slowdown. Okay. Blowback direction now matches the direction Baiken is facing. Yozansen, reduce landing recovery, increase damage. Wow, by the way, because I already felt like it did not have a lot of landing recovery, and it's very common in combos, so seeing this is kind of crazy. Hiragi, reduce recovery after successful parry as well as unsuccessful. So I think I think this leans into both the actual catch and the far parry also. Really want to see what this looks like. And then the super when blocked midair, you land quickly before, more startup, that's not bad. Okay. Baiken is fucking juiced. I thought this character was already really good, and pretty scary. Less RPS for them, which is good. The slower S Kabari, I kind of like the sound of it being slower, but then it's also plus, so she gets to really push her turn. And she already was a really strong character, no nerfs at all, too. So she's looking hyper. This character looks like very clearly buffed. Like I already thought her neutral was pretty strong already, and like they made both her slashes like disjoints and stuff. She was already a pretty flailing character too. Like Baiken players right now, for the most part, like they would already just like be pressing shit and just like whiffing shit. So now it feels like she gets to do more of that. We gotta see. I already thought far slash was not possible to whip punish. So I don't like when characters get to flail, so I don't like those type of changes, but the other stuff looks cool. And Testament, so this is the last character, Testament. Moves such as Grave Reaper have been strengthened, as there are many situations where Testament cannot fully launch on offensive in both neutral and on the opponent's wake up. The situation after landing the strike hit of S Grave Reaper has been improved, and it's easier to land Unholy Diver, that's the crow, as a melee attack. Both aerial and ground versions of Grave Reaper have less of the heavy versions of Grave Reaper have less attack startup and are easier to use in combos and strings. Crow causes less blowback on aerial hit, making it easier to follow up on. This creates an opportunity to deal damage while carrying the opponent closer to the corner. So, Crow fixed a bug where the crow would sometimes not behave as intended after a wall break sequence. I don't know what this is actually. Air dash, shorten air dash time, adjusting the value to match other characters. So I don't know what's Testament's air dash now, because Testament is actually already really hard to anti-air, I would say. Testament is 19. Testament is 19. That the average isn't it 18? The average 18? Oh, there we go. No, Testament's 18. Fix a bug where Testament lower hurtbox would sometimes disappear at the instant of a landing. That's fine. Standing K, reduce recovery. That's pretty good. Still 7 frames. That moves pretty good. 2K, reduce knockback. So 2K 2D was a problem for Testament for sure. Reduced attack startup. It was 7 frames, so 6 or 5, I think. Close slash, reduce recovery. I think that moves -2. Far slash, reduce attack startup and recovery and the front. So leaning towards disjoint. Far slash, I think it's like 13ish. It's not a fast poke, but it is very big. Not fast. I mean, compared to other far slashes, not fast, but it's really huge. Not that active. You can backdash it. It's kind of like Faust, I guess. Less recovery makes it harder to whip punish and jump over, which is good. 2S, reduce attack startup. I want to say this is like 11 frames or so. It should make it easier. There's a lot of like 10 frame things that Testament has problems punishing, so this should help with that. 5H, reduce recovery. It has a decent. I mean, it has a fat amount of recovery, honestly. 30 frames recovery, so we'll see about that. 6H, so pushes back less on block, and it's faster. 6H, I want to say, is like in the 20s. In the 20s, like 25 or something like that. So it being faster will be pretty good. That also means certain pressure structures will be pretty good here. JP, JK, same as everyone else. JS, reduced the frontal hurt box. This move was already juiced, so that's very good for them. Grave Reaper, all versions, now activates. So that's the universal change that we've seen for ground and air special moves like that. Succubus remains on the screen for longer. So right now, I think it's only 3 seconds. I always thought that 5 seconds would honestly be pretty good and would help their neutral quite a bit. Fix a bug where it would sometimes hit multiple times. This one I don't know about. Grounded Grave Reaper, all versions. Expanded frontal hitbox and hurtbox of the strike. That should be good for consistency stuff. The S version, the strike hit now launches the opponent higher, which is definitely good. No, Testament was solid. People downplay Testament. You're downplaying Testament if you thought they were low tier. So this will be good for more consistent Oki and combos, right? The Heavy Slash version, the bottom side, very good. Expand the lower hitbox of the projectile as it comes out, right? Probably means that you can also use it easier as pressure, right? Unholy Diver now launches opponent higher with decreased horizontal blowback distance. We mentioned that. That's a combo thing. And also going from stain to stain. Increase active frames after Succubus transformation. That's really good. Making it harder to backstep, making it more guaranteed that they get it. Expanded hitbox after Succubus transformation 2 means it's bigger when the Succubus is out. The crow will now always fly in a straight line when the button is held, so also more control over it, so that's really good. So the teleport, you have the same thing as Grave Reaper and Tatami and all those things. Arbiter Sign, reduce recovery. Right now this move is like minus 20 something right now, so anything helps with this one. But this also means that it should be better in Stain state, because in Stain it's minus 5. So you're probably leaning towards even right now. So it should be better in both contexts. Nostravia, initial hit now bounces opponent higher with decreased horizontal blowback distance. So that's just to keep him in and stuff. And then the Calamity one has the same change as everything else. I would say definitely buffs. Lots of quality of life stuff with a couple of unique control things, especially with how long the Succubus is active now. We need to see how long it is. And of course, having more control over Crow. So, let us talk. Big winners and big losers of this patch. Right? Based on the character changes. So, I'm going to go over my thoughts again. This is a very, very short summary. I'm not going to say even big winners or big losers. I'm mistaken. Just a review of how I feel about each character. So, Soul, I say slight nerf. Kai, I say buff. Mei, I say slight nerf. Axel, I say slight buff. Chipp, I say same. Potemkin, I say slight buff. Faust, I say buff. Millia, I say big buff. Maybe. Zato, I say overall same. Overall same. Ramlethal, I say slight nerf. Leo, I say slight nerf. Nago, I say same. Giobanna, I say slight nerf or same. Not sure. Anji, I say same or slight buff. Ino, slight buff. Goldlewis, buff. Jacko, buff. HC, slight nerf. Baiken, buff. And Testament, buff. Probably the biggest winners, I would say, would be Millia, Baiken, Testament, and Jacko. Biggest losers is probably like Soul, honestly, and maybe Leo. I don't think most characters lost a lot. And Kai was nonsense. I think Kai is in a really direct way where like your Millia, Jacko, Testament, it will take a little while. We'll take a little while to see. And yeah, that's how I'm feeling. What's up? How you guys feeling?